Alright guys, time for another RC Mojo video. Today we've got an E-flite UMX ASK 21 bind and fly glider. When you pick up the box you would be forgiven for thinking it's empty. Extremely lightweight. The artwork is quite neat. The picture looks like it's of an earlier version of the model without the extra vents on the canopy. The model comes with everything you need to get it airborne except for the transmitter. Right, let's have a look inside. Everything is well packed, so if you're getting it shipped there's no worry about damage, which is a plus on such a small model. First up is the battery, a single 150 mAh LiPo cell, which gives 25 minutes of gliding. Next, the charger. It runs from 4 AA cells, so you can charge while outside without messing around with a large battery to charge from. It doesn't take long to charge, so the 25-minute flight time isn't a problem. It also has a DC jack socket for an optional 6 volt 1.5 amp power supply, so you can charge at home without using up the AAs. Speaking of AAs, you get a set of 4 in the box. The accessories bag, which we'll have a look at in a bit, a nice stake for the high start, the wing. Be a bit careful with it as the surface picks up dents far too easily. And of course the fuselage itself. Something to note, E-flite quite like to hide the paperwork under the polystyrene, so if you think you're missing the manual, have a look at the bottom of the box. Not that there's much in it. Besides, if you're interested in the model you should really download the manual as a PDF and have a browse. Okay, let's check out the model. The wing is extremely thin and bendy. It's reinforced with a carbon spar and a plastic saddle in the centre. The aileron torque rods are wire and flex nicely with the wing. On the top there are 2 of the linear micro servos pre-rigged to the aileron linkages. And now the fuselage. Considering its size, it's well equipped. The tail is well reinforced with carbon rods, much like the wing. On the bottom there's a rolling foam wheel, so you could land on a hard surface without damaging the belly. The canopy is held on with 4 strong magnets. It also has some air vents not present on the box picture. I should imagine this is to keep a bit of air moving over the servo motors. Inside the fuselage there's the main board, which features an Invensys ITG 3205 3-axis gyro. There will be a microprocessor on the underside, but the board is glued in so I can't get at it. Under the main board there's another servo used to release the tow hook when being towed up by a tug. Here's the accessory bag. It contains a short high start, which is a length of rubber and cord. Another reel with just a length of cord for towing, and a bag with some screws, tow release plug, high start hook, and some extra velcro pads for batteries. Having had a good look at the model and seeing there's nothing visibly wrong with it, it's a good time to pop the AAs in the charger and get the battery on charge so it's done when we're ready to power up. Now for the fun bit. There are 4 posts on the top of the fuselage that locate in the holes in the wing saddle. Line them up and seat the wing. Then follow with 4 of the screws. Be careful as it's a bit tricky to get a good grip on the model without bending something. Keep doing them up until they're snug and the wing doesn't move on the posts. The aileron servos are marked L and R. L goes to the front socket on the main board with the brown wire on the outside, and R in the other socket with the orange wire on the outside. When the battery is charged, stick it on the velcro pad in the nose. The setting for the transmitter is very simple. In fact, a default Acro model memory on the DX8 with a touch of Expo, 10 or 15, and dual rate set to 70-100% is all you need to do to get it flying. Additionally, it's a good idea to set up a 25-minute countdown timer so you get a warning when you need to come in. Binding to a DX8 is simple enough. With the transmitter off, you power up the model. Turn on the DX8 in bind mode, wait a few seconds and it's ready to go. It was also nice to see it came up with telemetry. Only for fades and holds, but it will help spot and troubleshoot any signal problems. Having the battery voltage would have been brilliant though. The centre of gravity needs to be 18mm from the leading edge. I always put a dot on the wing so I have a reference point when out flying. Because the model is so small you don't have much margin for error, so move the battery around until it's spot on and make a note of where it ends up. So we're all set, time to fly. The wind was around 10 miles an hour plus gusts, enough that a traditional lightweight floater would have been thrown around quite badly without a bit of ballast. But the ASK is nice and stable despite weighing next to nothing. This is all down to the AS3X stabilization system. It uses the Invensys ITG 3205 3-axis gyro to sense rotation. So if the model rolls due to wind, it applies aileron to compensate. Yaw is compensated with the rudder and pitch the elevator, making it fly like a much, much bigger model. If there isn't any wind or you don't have a nearby slope, you need to use the high start. The tiny hook is fitted to the same moulding as the wheel, with a small screw to stop it coming out. You can't adjust the position, but everything else has been spot on, so I guess the position will be just fine. With the stake in the ground and the high start hooked up, it's time to try it out. Using the keychain camera on a hat method of filming, so excuse the quality. The high start has good pull, but it's a bit on the short side. To get into a thermal from a flat field would need a bit of luck. Quite doable though. Of course, another thing to try at some point is making a longer high start. I think just a longer cord with a stock rubber might just do it. Now, the thing with this glider is it has one major accessory that you really need to get the best out of it. Yep, should be fun. Thanks for watching. If you're already subscribed, thanks for subscribing. If you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for?